Hello, everyone. This is so exciting. I'm so excited. I've been thinking about this moment in particular for a couple weeks now because I can't be the only one that's been wanting to talk about this movie. I remember when Endgame came out and like Infinity War came out, and I just wanted to only talk about those movies. And then I couldn't say anything because not everyone had seen it. But I feel like now that it's been a couple weeks and like the universe has grasped what actually happened with this movie, we can finally kind of talk about it. So I'm very excited. But before we begin, I do want to say, Avery, you're so funny. Thank you. I do want to say that this is going to have spoilers in it. I'm going to wait to do some spoiler stuff until like a little bit after. So if you're here for like jokes or whatnot, we're going to do some jokes. And then I also want to talk a little bit about everyone's like relationship with Spider-Man and how they got into Spider-Man and like their relationship with the movies and the comics and such. So that won't have any spoilers. I suppose there won't be any spoilers for that.
Should I ask Joy to leave the room before we talk about mine and Spider-Man's relationship?
I guess that's up to you. Okay. But I will give another warning of when we're gonna do spoilers because there definitely will be some. So if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, or if you like don't care about spoilers, I suppose like I'll leave that up to your discretion. Just know that we're going to be talking about stuff in the movie. But before we get into actually talking about the movie, jokes, talking in the chat, I want to introduce all of my guests here. Over to on my left, but I'm pointing to my right, is Peter 4 and Peter 5. Welcome.
I'm 4. She's 5.
Okay, and I'm Peter 6 tonight, and then we have Peter Piper over here. Russ. So Joy and Justin are from PJJ Escapades, right? And then Joy S.
I don't know. I just show up every Wednesday.
Yes, Joy live streams every Wednesday at 8:00. Go check out their channel. We'll do like a recap at the end of everyone's channels. Russ is What in the World with Russ. Russ, you go live sporadically as well.
Yeah, depends on my schedule, but yeah.
Yeah, Russ is busy. And then down here, we've got Nick, Movie Mania Nick. And of course, we had to have Nick here tonight because Nick is our like movie guru. So obviously we have to have Nick here tonight. So Nick, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I will say he didn't make it to pre-production. That's why his name isn't very good.
No. I'm just normal Nick, that's all.
That's okay. We like normal Nick too. Down below me, I have Peter Tingles. Tina from T. Marie's place. T. Marie does tingle sometimes with her Peter Tingles. So, yep. So welcome, Tina. I would also like to say that Tina actually hasn't seen this movie yet. So.
I did a lot of research. She's done a lot of research before. She actually just watched Far From Home for the first time today. So Spider-Man 2 for the win, right? Yeah.
But I think she's read every Spider-Man meme there is out there. So
yes.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Pro meme.
And then down here in the corner, I have Peter 7, Chris, Dad Builds. So happy to have you guys here.
Howdy.
Thanks so much for joining me. I feel like this couldn't have been a better stream, honestly. Wait, Meg has a Peter that tingles. No. But I hold on. I know Spider-Man. Hold on. Someone else take over the stream for a second.
Oh.
So Chris, that's a Spider-Man hat, huh?
Yes, it is.
That is very cool. See, look, you're doing your franchising very good.
Yeah, I tried to come prepared.
I'm wearing red. Does that count?
Did someone see that?
Oh.
Hello.
Oh,
there he is.
Peter, your outfit looks like in Endgame when you didn't click the thing to make it size up right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll have to talk to. Oh, sorry, I don't. I'll have to talk to. No one. Oh, sorry. I don't want to spoil anything.
that looks exactly like the Peter from the 1979 Japanese cartoon.
It did, actually.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah. I miss that Peter.
So glad that you guys met my friend Peter.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
I mean, Spider-Man. Okay, so before we get into the actual stream, I want to say hi to everyone in the chat. I see some people that had dropped in earlier that said that they haven't seen the movie yet, so no worries. Stacy, thanks for being here. Noah, Tim, I choose you too. I think that pin is so funny. Christine, welcome. It's Joey's World. Avery, Jeanette, Sebastian the Crab, Jason Udo, hi. Hello, Peter Ford. Avery, welcome. T. Marie's Place, Sean, Snaggin' Whiskers, and welcome, Sean. Christina, William the Unknown. Shout out. Ooh, that's a new name. I liked your other name too. Movie Mania Nick. Hi Nick, welcome.
Hi.
Nathan Rada, Kay Atwood, hello. Anna, welcome. Karen Cook. I know Karen saw the movie because she sent me a message, so it's pretty awesome. Adventures with VP. Thank you guys for being here. Wait, so who is 1, 2, or 3? That
talk about that later.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
I don't know. J Grubs, hello, welcome. Katrina, thanks for being here. Bill Steffen, hello. Hi, R. Johns. Trust in the Peter Tingle. Yes. So before we get into talking about Spider-Man, I do have a couple jokes for you guys, just because we all have the Peter Tingles and we want to laugh. So until we all get to the spoiler part, all I'm going to say is the best Marvel movie, hands down, Avery says. Actually, that's a really good thing. Hey, Debbie, welcome. Before we get started, Peter 4 and Peter 5, how would you rate the movie on a scale of like 10? 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst? Hi, Karina.
I'll let you go 5.
I'm giving an 8.
Ooh. See, I would give it a 9. Now, Avery, I think, was the one who said this is the best Marvel movie. I don't think it's better than Endgame, but I think it's just underneath Endgame.
Cool. Okay, how about you, Peter Piper?
I'm gonna say an 8. I don't think it's the best, but yeah, I mean, I really, really liked it. So yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Nick?
I'm going to give it a 9. Just basically the same thing what Justin said. It's not as great as Endgame, but it's right underneath it.
Cool. Tina, if you could predict what you think the movie might be, what do you think? Or what would you give Far From Home?
Okay, so, all right. So from what I've seen of No Way Home so far, I would give it an 8. And only because, and I know I probably when I see it, I'm going to feel all the hype and I won't say why, spoilers. But Far From Home.
Did the person who didn't see the movie just say she was going to spoil the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I know what happened. I looked up the spoilers.
She did research.
I did. And I feel like I could have like a PhD in Spider-Man now. So I would give Far From Home, I would give it a 9.5 because I really I loved it. And I put off seeing it for so long because I did not like the first Spider-Man movie. It annoyed the heck out of me.
As in Homecoming. You didn't like Homecoming.
Yes, Homecoming. I didn't like it. And so I was like, I watched all the Marvel movies and I was like, I can wait for the
Marvel. I like Marvel too.
So yeah, Marvel's great. Yeah. So yes, I would give Far From Home a 9.5, and I can bet that I would grade almost the same thing for No Way Home.
Love it.
If I saw the whole thing and not just spoilers. But
she's right now, Peter Tingles for the 9.5.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Peter 7, how about you?
I'm going with a 9. Solid 9.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I would also probably give it a 9.5, Tina. You guys are saying it's not as good as Endgame, but for Spider-Man fans, this was my Endgame. I think I had stayed away from a whole ton of spoilers, and I think we all knew kind of what was going to happen in the movie because there had been rumors for a really long time, but I hadn't let myself scavenge the internet to try and find any of those things. So I felt like when things happened, I was genuinely surprised that it actually happened. And so for that to happen in the Spider-Man universe, which is not always connected to the MCU, and because Sony and the MCU are obviously different. And so it felt like my end game. And Avery, I feel you so strongly. I was definitely more hyped about this movie than I was for Endgame. I don't know if this is like, I don't know, controversial, but I actually liked Infinity War way better than Endgame, because I felt like I could
Because you
forget
like the
a lot of
villains.
what.
That's why. It's because you like the villains. That's the thing.
I mean, if we're being honest, I keep saying this to anyone who asks me, I'm like, if you've seen the trailer, it's not a spoiler, right? Because you know that Doc Ock comes back in here, Green Goblin comes back. You see some of these villains in the trailer. Hi, Arlene. She said, I'm ready to talk trash about this movie. So I'm definitely like on the level of this. Not that it's better than Endgame, but this was my Endgame. This was my Spider-Man Endgame, which was really exciting.
Without spoilers, was this better than Spider-Verse for you? Into the Spider-Verse.
So those are two different. These are different movies. Although the one line in the movie, I'm like, we getting a live action Miles.
Yeah,
we're getting him. It's gonna be really exciting. But we'll
as
get
a Spider-Man fan,
yeah.
Was this better than Into the Spider-Verse?
I don't think you could compare them. One's a live action movie and one's an animated movie. I mean, obviously you can't compete too much with it because it's literally like Oscar worthy. Like, it's amazing. For anyone that hasn't seen Into the Spider-Verse, you should really see it. It introduces some other characters that you might not know within the Spider-Verse. Hi, Anitra. I have no idea what any of this is about. I'm glad you liked it so much.
And a great soundtrack in Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it's so well done. It's so captivating, so engaging. And I think that going forward, the whole Spider-Verse is going to be really cool. But I think, I don't know, do you guys want to skip jokes for tonight? You want to do them next week?
That's your stream.
Okay, I like. Can we do jokes next week?
As you can tell, Peter number 6 is very excited to talk about this.
Peter number 6 has been waiting for a couple weeks now to say.
I figured you had Spider-Man jokes.
Oh
no, that's a sticky situation. I don't know. Oh, Anne says don't skip the jokes. How about I do a couple jokes and then I save the rest of them for next week? Sure. I'll pick out like half of them. Okay, what's this one? What note do you get if you drop a piano down a mine shaft? A flat minor.
Uh-huh.
Anne says, I'm medicated. I want jokes. Hi, Dapper Connect. Welcome. Zippity Doo-Dad says, I'm here for the Batman. Comes out in the episode, or is that next week? Listen,
he's here for the Bateman. Not the Batman, the Bateman.
The Bateman.
Yeah, the Bateman.
The Bateman. Listen, come March, I said to Flipper, we gotta have it like in our conversation when the Batman comes out. Also, hi Amy, welcome. Arlene, I am here to read all of your comments. I'm ready. Jonathan Chong, hello. Surfbum, hi John. Also, congratulations on winning that Boba Fett lounge fly. It's pretty awesome. Okay. Hi, Julie. Welcome. I don't have a wife, but I asked my wife for an audiobook this Christmas, but she got me an encyclopedia instead. It speaks volumes. So, yeah. Yeah.
Avery told a really good Spider-Man joke.
What was it? What is a Spider-Man's favorite type of show? A web series. I love it. Hi, Epic Games. Welcome. Okay. Yesterday I ate a clock and it was very time consuming, especially when I went back for seconds. It took me so much time. I was so hungry. I can cut down a tree just by looking at it. It's true. I saw it with my own eyes.
Oh.
So now you actually get to see the reactions to your dad jokes.
I don't look at anyone when I tell them. Hi, Connie, welcome. Avery says, I went to Spider-Man's wedding. It was lovely to see the newlyweds. What is a Spider-Man side job? Web developer. I love this.
We'll get into spoilers. I want to know if that's true or not.
Yeah, we'll have to know. Yeah. How does celebrities stay cool? They have many fans. Speaking on that, I am a Spider-Man fan. So before,
look at that segue. She's a professional.
Oh my gosh, Arlene said, what was the point of the movie? Oh,
We'll
Arlene.
get into that. We'll get into that because I think this movie really sets the MCU Spider-Man's reason for being Spider-Man.
It leaves a world of opportunities at the end. Hi, Mr. the Crab. No worries. I'm so glad you were here for the jokes. But before we get into the actual movie, I do want to talk not about a romantic relationship, Justin, but your relationship with Spider-Man as a character. Like, when did you guys start watching Spider-Man, whether it was the movies? Did you read the comics? So we'll start with Peter 4 and Peter 5.
Peter 5? She pretty much jumped into the first Sony Spider-Man movies. That's kind of her start. I think my start is the mid-'80s cartoons, which led me to the comic books, and I've been a comic book fan since then.
I could see you as a comic book fan.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you have a specific movie or comic that you really like in particular?
If you want to talk comics, comic nerds will know this. Nothing Can Stop the Juggernaut, maybe one of my favorite Spider-Man comics that there ever written.
Cool. Awesome. How about you, Peter 5? Do you have a favorite movie?
I mean, I like isn't he the original Spider-Man, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's the
Yeah,
original.
I like the original.
Spider-Man 1 with Tobey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good one. Awesome. How about you, Russ? What is your relationship to Spider-Man, and when did you start watching the movies? Or
So, I was introduced to Spider-Man very young. I think probably the first, the old original, like really crappy TV Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the first movies that I ever saw. But then the comics also have always been kind of a part of my life in and out. I've read, off and on, read Spider-Man. But yeah, he's always been one of my favorite Marvel characters. He's so diverse, but yet he's really easy to identify with because he's just a kid who gets in trouble,
Yeah.
and has to figure things out while he's trying to grow up and deal with all these complex situations, and he's meeting all these other characters. And Spider-Man's always been one that kind of has bridged a lot of other characters, and I think that's cool. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, Arlene has a really cool joke.
Yeah.
I went on a date with Spider-Man, but he was super clingy. Awesome. So Russ, you also touched upon something I wanted to talk about as well, which is overall, we can talk about it after we go through everyone, but why is Spider-Man such an important character to us? What makes him so appealing, and what makes him so relatable? And you kind of touched upon that a little bit. And that's why he's always been my favorite, because he is the most relatable superhero.
This may be a 7-hour stream, Meg.
Yeah.
Listen, we can always have a part 2. I'm ready. And after I see the movie again, I'll have more stuff to talk about. But I don't know if you guys can tell. There's a few things that I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about Lord of the Rings and Disney. And then I also really love talking about Spider-Man. So what is Spider-Man's favorite road? Peter Parkway. Please keep all of these punny Spider-Man jokes coming. I love them. But Russ, thank you so much. We'll definitely get back to that idea of why Spider-Man is an important character. How about you, Nick? What was your introduction to Spider-Man?
Basically, it was when I was young. I read a few of the comics, not a lot, but it was mostly the cheesy movie. But I really didn't get into it until the Tobey Maguire movie, the films. I liked them, and then it was the Andrew Garfield films. So I've seen all the films. So, and it does relate. When I was young, it was just he was a kid too. So you kind of relate to those things that he was going through. So
yeah. Awesome. Very cool. And Anitra says, what about Harry Potter, Meg? Who said anything about Harry Potter? I love Harry Potter, but I don't know. I feel like I could talk about Harry Potter a lot, but it's not on the same level as Lord of the Rings. For me, that's just, but I do love Harry Potter. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan.
And then there's Kylo Ren.
That's a whole nother story, whole other story. I like franchises, obviously. Peter Tingles, how about you? I know that you recently have been introduced to the Spider Universe, Spider-Verse. So is there a particular time where you started watching Spider-Man?
All right, so I saw my very first Spider-Man movie back when the first Tobey Maguire one came out. And I was young and stupid and didn't really understand comics stuff. So I didn't really take to a liking. I liked the kiss, the upside down kiss. That was cute.
Who doesn't?
But,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, seriously. And after that, I never watched the sequels. And I didn't get into it until last year, 2 years ago, whenever it was, that I went through all the Marvel movies and then came to Spider-Man Homecoming and didn't like it. And then now here we are today where I see Far From Home and I'm in love with it. And it makes me just excited for the Spider-Verse or whatever you guys are calling it. I don't know. It's something.
I'm going to have you on another stream. I want to know why you don't like Homecoming so much. Like, I loved that movie. I loved it.
I think it's because he is so relatable, and being an annoying teenager myself, I think it just makes me cringe. It makes me think of my teenage years, possibly. So I don't know. If I'm really going to get psychological and dissect it, maybe that's it. But he grew on me. He grew on me in the Infinity War Endgame. So I will say that. He grew on me. But yeah.
Love it. Awesome. I also want to say hi to Donna. Hi, Donna. Okay, Peter Seven, how about you? What was your introduction to Mr. Spidey?
When I was little, it was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Yeah. With Iceman and Firestar.
Yep.
The animated TV show. And then when I got into comic books when I was in early teens, reading the comic books, I started reading Spider-Man at the exact wrong time because it was during the whole clone saga.
Oh gosh.
When there was hundreds of Spider-Man, but it was still fun to read to me. So yeah, it was all through that. And then all the animated series and since then, and movies, of course.
Awesome. I want to answer this question. I am a teen. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's me.
But not an annoying one.
No, of course not. So for me, I obviously wasn't super old when the Tobey Maguire ones came out. It's very similar to the prequels for Star Wars for me. Those were movies that I grew up watching as a kid. I watched Spider-Man, I was a little bit older, obviously, when Spider-Man 3 came out, but the first two I absolutely loved so much. I did, get into the comics after because no one in my family, even now, like my dad is kind of interested in it because I'm interested in it. He likes action from the movies. He does like the storyline of the superheroes, but very similar to a lot of the stuff that I like. I got into it because I somehow found it through entertainment, and being introduced to Spider-Man in that way was really special. And so growing up with those movies as a kid was really special. And then, hi, Kate. And then as, a late teenager, early young adult, when the Andrew Garfield ones came out, that was also really special because like I had just finished high school when that was coming out. And so it was super relatable for me because I was like in this position where like I'm like Peter Parker age. I'm like a little bit older than him. Like all of this stuff is legit, like all of the awkwardness, everything like that. And then watching Tom as, an adult now, it's like a full circle of like my life and growing up with these movies. And one way I feel like we're so good at communicating is through movies. And that's how I feel like I'm able to communicate a lot of times too, through movies and through characters and through storylines and things like that. When can we talk about the dragon? Hush, Tim, there's no spoilers yet. Also, if you don't know, the Goonies does have a dragon in it. There we go. So now that we kind of talked about that, I feel like maybe towards the end. Hi, Yadi, welcome. What is Spider-Man's favorite pastime? Surfing the web. He does that in The Amazing Spider-Man. He does lots of surfing the web. So
can I bring up one thing, Meg, real quick?
Yes.
this is something that's in the chat, and we didn't talk about this as a group, but for people of a certain age, my age, Spider-Man, maybe the first time we saw it was on Electric Company. That was a TV show that was kind of like Sesame Street or Reading Rainbow, and they would have like a 10-minute segment of Spider-Man, which was a cartoon. So there's a lot of people in the chat had said that that's where they were first introduced to Spider-Man.
That's pretty awesome. What's so cool is that we're all from different, we're all different ages, obviously. And so growing up in different communities, different experiences, we all have, our unique introduction to these characters. Hi, Emily, welcome. And so obviously I'm a little bit younger than some people. Yeah, so Kate just said that too. I'm a little bit younger than some of our other friends here in the community. And so I was definitely I love after the original movies, seeing those, I was like, I gotta start reading comics. And so I have a whole ton of the Spider-Man comics, and that's what really got me into the character. And I'm just so excited to talk about this because I feel like it was the culmination of all of the Spider-Man movies and it leading up to this point. So I feel like I have to talk about this. It's been something that I've been dying to hear from everyone. And we'll start with Peter 4 and Peter 5. Before I start talking about this is probably the spot where we're going to talk about spoilers. So if you guys, oh my gosh, Rye Guy, how old are you, Grandpa? He says that to you, Justin. But if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, this is probably where we're going to start talking about spoilers. We loved the movie, and I used to watch Electric Company and watch the animated version. Then we watched all the movies. Awesome, Connie. So just, hey, you guys, everyone's saying that now. But I do want to say, if you haven't seen the movie, this is where we're going to talk about spoilers. So Jeanette says, okay, I'll meet you guys. Thank you, Jeanette. But yes, I am ready to hear about everyone's favorite part of the movie, their favorite scene. I have been dying to hear about everyone's favorite parts because I know it's going to hit, it's going to hit differently for every person. And so, there was such an emotional connection to this movie for me. And so I definitely have some parts that are super emotional that just hit me in the feels. And so I'm so curious to know what everyone's favorite scenes are, favorite parts. So how about you, Peter 4 and Peter 5?
Your 5?
Our favorite scene
Yeah, your favorite scene.
I like when all the Spider-Man show up together. I had no idea that was going to happen, so that was pretty cool.
We avoided the spoilers as much as we could, yeah.
Anitra said, I just want to know what made it so good for everyone that loves it. Exactly. That part where all of them are together. Is there a particular part that you like, or just having all three of them in the movie?
I'm probably just having them all three in there together.
Yeah. Hi, Manny the Man. Welcome. Yeah, if you guys have seen the movie, obviously, we're talking about all three Spider-Men being in the movie, with Toby being there, Andrew being there, and Tom being there. And it's really something special. Yeah. How about you, Justin? Is there a
I think the most emotional scene for me was when MCU Spider-Man was about to kill Green Goblin, and Tobey Maguire steps in, and there's no words that are spoken. And if you know about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and he ended up killing Green Goblin, and he stops the MCU Spider-Man from doing that. And it's a really emotional scene without anything being said. And the bad part is, if you haven't seen the Tobey Maguire movies, I don't think it hits you as much. And of course, they're doing that on top of Captain America's shield.
Yeah.
There's a lot of symbolism right there, and there's a lot of emotion for somebody who has seen all the MCU and seen all the Sony movies. So, that's probably the strongest scene for me.
That scene in particular is so special. But I also want to point out something that you said, because we've gotten a lot of questions about it, and I've said it several times without giving any spoilers. if you like, I don't know why you're still here if you haven't seen the movie yet, but for everyone that was saying like, hey, do I need to know context of this movie? Like, do I need to see the other ones? And I'm like, no, you don't have to. If you're seeing the movie tomorrow night, you're not going to watch all of them before you go, but your viewing experience is going to be that much more special if you know the context of what's going on. I think that there are particular spots in this movie that hit you because you know, like even just some of the language, like even with Willem Dafoe saying, you know, I'm a bit of a, you know, a scientist myself, and just like little things like that where you know that it's, you know, an ode to one of the other movies. And or like when Toby's talking to Doc Ock and he says, you know, like he's like, how you doing? Like you're all grown up. And he's like, I'm trying to do better. And that's what he says Spider-Man too. But like some parts where if you like are missing like huge plot points, you're just not going to understand why that is so important. So like Justin, what you said of just having such an emotional moment. Actually, it involves all three Spideys. Was that anyone else's favorite scene too?
Yeah, I mean, I like that scene.
Yeah, it was special. Awesome. Well, thank you, Peter 4 and Peter 5. Peter Piper, what was your favorite scene from the movie?
So it's hard for me to nail down like my favorite because there are so many good ones. To be honest, I really every scene with Doctor Strange in it is one of my favorites because he's one of my favorite characters, and I just love Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. But so probably the fight scene between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in the Mirrorverse is pretty epic. And the way that Spider-Man beats him with math is hilarious.
Yeah. It's like, I know that.
Yeah. But just that's probably my favorite like fight scene. But anytime, again, I love Dr. Ock too, when he shows back up, that, you know, when he comes in and says, hello, Peter, you know, you just tingle, you know, you get the Peter tingles.
The Peter tingles.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was, and again, what Justin was talking about, where, you know, you the emotional side of it too is, you know, I mean, all the stuff with Aunt May, you know,
no one's brought that up yet.
You know, because I think one of the cool things that I really loved about it too was the tie-in of the first line, with great power comes great responsibility, and they all have experienced that, and that's how Spider-Man has become who Spider-Man is, and I think that's what this movie's all about is what makes Spider-Man. You know, I think that's what it is. So
that ties back into why Spider-Man is such a special character, and it's because he's human and he makes human decisions, and he makes it based off of his heart. And sometimes our heart doesn't always make the best decisions. And this movie in particular, he was making a lot of decisions based on his heart. And I think that's also very special. So thank you, Russ, for sharing that. How about you, Nick? What was your favorite scene?
Well, basically, like Russ said, it's like there's a lot of good scenes in this film. But I like what Russ was saying about the Aunt May and the line there. And if you think about it, that was basically her last line before she died. That was it.
Okay, wait, was anyone else like when the glider came and hit her? I was like, no. And then she got up, and then I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, maybe she made it. Like, she's gonna be okay. And then it was like even more devastating because she got up and she said the line, and I was like,
well, and it's a flashback with Tony.
Yeah.
You know, to that kind of
Happy's looking right over. He's like, I know what happened over here.
Yeah. I mean,
We're happy.
That's the thing about
that was
the
a sad
MCU
moment.
Spider-Man. We never got an origin story for it. We never understood his motives of being a superhero. And you know, and if you watch this movie, it's almost like MCU Peter Parker's origin story. It's the third movie, but it's his origin story.
I like that way of thinking. It's very interesting. I mean, it I mean, it is almost an origin story because if we're jumping ahead to the end, he's starting over. This is a brand new start for him. So it could be his next origin story. I mean, not like, there's no Uncle Ben in this story. So obviously Uncle Ben has been such a big figure in Spider-Man, and that not triggers him to, become this vigilante, but they're going after whoever killed their Uncle Ben.
Yeah, but I say Aunt May was basically Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
Right.
and so he goes after Green Goblin.
Yeah,
and then Toby stops him. But yes, the Aunt May part, I did not see that coming. That hit me. That hit me hard in the feels too.
One little thing in that scene too is he literally took a bullet for her too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I also like the part where the Andrew Garfield when he saves MJ, it was like his redemption for the Gwen moment.
That's my favorite scene. I literally could cry thinking
he's just
about
like tearing up. It's like like MJ says, "Are you okay?"
No, he says, "Are you okay?" And then she's like, "Are you okay?" And that was the first thing I said to Tim when I got out of that movie. I said, he went after MJ. He got her. Here for the moment. Hello. Here for a moment. That part hit me so hard. I don't know if anyone else, like, I still think about that moment in the movie theater every day. And of course my dad doesn't pay attention that much. So I whispered over to him. I was like, that's how Gwen Stacy died. And you could just tell the way that he propelled himself off of that building. No webs, like just, and there were a lot of people that had guessed that was going to happen, that Andrew's Spider-Man was going to save MJ from that, because obviously he needs some redemption. But it was, I mean, it's no surprise that Andrew Garfield is a very talented actor. He's an Oscar nominee. He's been Oscar nominated. I'm sure he will be this year as well for Tick, Tick, Boom. He's won a Tony. Like he's very critically acclaimed as an actor, even more so than the other two. But the way that he, in just a second, like you could just tell that he thought about that moment of like how he could have caught Gwen for the last. And how about when he was like, I stopped pulling my punches. Like, I just, I want to see that dark Spidey. We all go through that. Like, we go through hard times. I just keep going back to like why Spider-Man is so special.
Well, going back to that scene, we talked about, you have to see the other movies maybe to feel the punch of it.
Yeah.
Peyton's only seen the MCU movies. And we were looking at that movie, and I turned to her at that moment, and she was crying. So, it hits you, even if you don't know the entire story. It was so good.
I think it's because of Andrew's acting. It's just in that 1 second, it's like, oh my God, like I saved her. I did it. I think about that. I've been thinking about that scene like for weeks now, just since I saw the movie, and it's so impactful, like even more so than all the other ones, because the death of Gwen Stacy, although like we probably knew that it was coming because of the comics, but like that, how does that not just like crush you, that particular death? Because I loved Emma Stone in that movie. I loved Gwen. I'm still not over it. Like 10 years later, 8 years later, I'm not over it. And I think that's what made not having a third movie so hard in that franchise, is because you don't get the closure. They just, that's it. No more. Like Gwen died and that's it. And that was really hard.
And even if you didn't see that movie, that movie was pretty much pulled straight from the comic. So if you knew the comic itself, you knew what happened too. So you didn't really need to see that movie to see that. But
once again, I think cinematically showing that moment of Gwen dying and then his response is just shattering. Like it's soul crushing to see it play out in real life, and to know that he was so close to getting her and he didn't. I've seen a lot of memes about cracking backs though, and that he could not. He really did crack Gwen's.
Yeah. And I know Dad Bills hasn't gone yet, but you're kind of talking about Andrew Garfield, and I'd just like to say how much I enjoyed the meta of them playing off of him being the weaker of the Spider-Man, so to speak. I think that was a little bit of a homage to the whole fans of that, and I really do consider him the weaker of the three Spider-Mans.
He's more of the sensitive Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I like that. But can we also talk about the part where he was like, I know how to work apart. Like I was a part of a team. I don't want to brag, but like I was in the Avengers, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's so great. Like what is that?
Were you in a band?
Were you in a band?
And then Toby's character goes, that's great. What's that?
What is that? Like they were so excited for him, but they were like, we have no idea because we're from Sony and we don't know the Avengers. I loved that part. But now that I've talked a little bit too much, Peter 7, what was your favorite part?
I had two. One of them was the May scene, but it was specifically Happy looking over. There was not a word said, but you could tell Happy, he broke first for May, and then he broke for Peter because he knew what Peter was going through after seeing Tony go through a lot of that same type stuff. So it was just, that got me. And then the rooftop scene with the three of them where Toby and Andrew are sharing their story of their loss and how it affected them and the dark road it took them down. And yeah, because loss is at the core of Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, it's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but it's all about how Peter deals with the loss in his life that builds Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's what's so relatable about this superhero. Like, we all experience loss. Like, I literally talk about this for hours, but I think what's so, I mean, you know, obviously like Batman is very similar. There's a lot of other origin stories that are very similar, but like for this being a kid, he's a kid. And I mean, I can be transparent with you guys. I lost someone when I was 18. I have such a connection to this character, especially after that happened, and just having such a devastating loss and then not knowing how to deal with it and trying to find my way in, like, literally this whole trilogy is all about coming home. And I think to have someone that you could connect to on a level like that of dealing with loss, like you can have someone like a figure like Spider-Man to show you like how to get through that loss. And especially when he's lost literally the closest people to him, like whether it's Uncle Ben, Aunt May, you know, and this ginormous loss at the end of which he makes the decision to not lose them, but they forget about him. And that's one huge loss, many losses. And I'm surprised no one mentioned that scene at the end where he goes into the coffee shop and MJ's wearing the necklace that he gave her. And he like goes in with the intention of like, this is what, you know, I'm going to say to have them remember me. And he doesn't, because he sees how happy they are. And he's like, I'm not going to mess with that. Yeah, does anyone else feel anything about that scene?
Yeah, and it wasn't just about how happy they were, because she pulled back her hair and there was the scar that was there. So it was more about that. It was also about how he knows he can hurt them too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the Amazing Spider-Man 2, like, you know, the captain said, you leave Gwen out of this, you know, like, I don't care what you do, just leave her out. And I mean, obviously you're a teenager and you want to see your girlfriend and you want to be in love. And they just were so in love, and he couldn't leave he couldn't leave Gwen alone, and inevitably Gwen ends up dying, and it does. It has this really powerful message of like, I can hurt these people that I love inadvertently, because people are going to go after me, and that happened. That's a theme in a lot of shows or movies. Like, there's just there could be harm done to the people that you love. Sorry, Nick, were you going to say something? Who was talking? Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say at the end there at the coffee shop, there is like at the very moment at the end, there's a glimpse when they go back to her, and then she turns around, but then she stops just to think about it a little bit, saying, I wonder if she kind of realized, but not really. So if there's something there,
Well, I kind of saw it as she still likes him, but doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. It's like, oh, because he's awkward and he's weird, and he comes in, and that's just the way he's always been, but she still finds that attractive, and just in her mind, it's like, oh, this kind of guy's kind of cool,
As one says about Peter Parker, wow, that man is really cool.
There is one more thing, and this is getting a little meta with the comics, but they referenced it a little bit earlier in a couple of scenes where in the comic books, Ned ends up turning on Spider-Man or Peter Parker, and ends up becoming a supervillain. And they sort of reference that in another scene. If you go deeper into it, it's more of that coffee shop scene maybe deterred him from becoming a supervillain.
No one mentioned that, like, Ned with the sling ring. Like,
Yeah.
That entire scene in the apartment with the grandma.
It's like, can you just get the cobwebs up there?
It's hilarious.
It was like, are you really do the spider tingle thing? Do it. Just, like, crawl.
Or worse, when he couldn't close the portal in the fight at the end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And we didn't talk about that introduction to Toby and Andrew as coming into the movie. I mean, did you guys think that they were going to be in the movie? Did you know?
Oh, I knew.
It was obvious.
Yeah.
There are too many rumors out there, even if you try to avoid it.
There was literally video and photo evidence of like them being on set, and they were like, "That's not me."
Well, there is a picture though where somebody posted a video of when you see the Lizard, Sandman, and I think Electro fighting. But if you look at the bottom, you see Electro heads turn, like somebody punching them.
Yeah.
But you only see one Spider-Man.
Yeah. It was the Lizard.
So it's like, kind of obvious.
Yeah.
That was in the trailer, and you can see that there's three villains, and they're not all going after the one Superman that's in there or Spider-Man that's in there. So that was
the only thing that surprised me was Matt Murdock.
Right, and no one mentioned that either.
Yes. That was awesome.
Really
I love that.
But that was awesome,
Just a really good lawyer.
You're gonna need a really good lawyer.
Yeah. That brings in a whole nother point of like now with like Daredevil being a part of the MCU and like all, I haven't seen all of Hawkeye, but I do know who comes into it. So like all of that stuff is now like canon in the MCU like universe. I mean,
well, they tried so hard to make those so that if you're watching at home, the Matt Murdock and the guy from the Hawkeye series are in the Netflix series of Daredevil, and Marvel tried so hard to make those not part of the MCU. Kind of odd that all of a sudden
now
those two characters come over, but they're still not referencing that story. I'm wondering if they're just using those two characters because they played them so masterfully in that series. But
also, hi, Space Mountain Dave Cantrell, welcome. I think
I'll go crazy if we see Jessica Jones though.
Oh, I know. Or Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Tina, I want to go to you because I want to know what
I want to know her favorite scene of the movie.
From what Tina's seen, what has been your favorite part of No Way Home?
Okay, well, thief up there in the corner took it. But when I was doing my research and watching things, that was the scene. It was the scene where he stops, whatever former Spider-Man stops MCU Spider-Man from killing Green Lantern. Was it? I think
Green
Was that
Lantern.
Green Goblin.
Whoa.
Green Goblin. Whatever. Sorry, wrong.
That's okay.
That's DC, isn't it?
That'd be extra, extra, extra. Like,
so, yeah. As
all
someone
the universes.
Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, we already have him though.
Deadpool.
As someone who never saw the Amazing Spider-Man, is that and what's his name?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. I've never seen any of those. So as someone who's never seen any of those, who has was it Tobey Maguire that stops him from killing it? Okay,
Yeah.
so for only seeing the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and not knowing the background behind that scene, it still hit me and I think Justin said it was the same. Peyton like cried. Is that the scene that you were talking about? Because sorry, it was only half.
That was when he saves.
Okay, never mind.
MJ.
That's what happens when I half pay attention. I'm sorry. And so it hit me as someone who's never seen the previous, the last two Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. I have no idea what's going on. That just hit me like it was such like a you can feel the power behind it and the experience and the understanding of knowing what the consequences are of MCU Spider-Man actually fulfilling and going through with killing this villain. And so that one really hit me. But I do want to say this. So because Justin stole that one, I'll give a different one. So my the other favorite scene, sorry, I'm getting all excited. The other favorite scene was when the other two Spider-Mans, I can't count now, come in. So listen, I hated the fact that there were other Spider-Mans. Like, why do they have to keep changing up the Spider-Mans? Why is this Spider-Man series? And why is there this Spider-Man series as a different actor? It was driving me nuts. And when they brought them in together and it was like multiverse central. It was like the clouds opened up, the angels came down, and the heavens thing, and I got it and I understood it. And it was like, I love it, and I'm so here for it. So now I'm so excited. So
literally, the clouds break open and the sky.
Yes, yeah. Listen, I'm Italian. This is how we talk. So I'm super, super excited. So
we didn't talk about any of the funny scenes between. I could literally sit there and watch like a 3-hour movie of just the three of them talking. Like, hey, I fought an alien once. Oh my gosh, I fought an alien too. He was purple and it was in outer space. I'm just caught on the fact that you fought an alien in outer space. Oh my gosh, wait, you just produce your own webs? Like, how does
that's
that
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And then they're back at the lab and they're still talking about it.
Yeah. They're like, sorry, I don't mean to pry, but like, listen, like, I can't do that.
I do want to talk about one scene that we haven't talked about. That's a really strong scene too. Is when MCU Spider-Man was about to quit, and the other two Spider-Mans come and essentially talk about why they're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
On that rooftop.
That's what Chris talked about.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. No, I'm joking. I think that's that scene and the Aunt May scene are the two scenes that really made Spider-Man in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also the scene of them swinging together, all three of them. Like there's like some like bootleg footage of it on TikTok, and I've watched it too many times to count. Because it literally makes me cry every time because it's so powerful to see all three of them flying through the air, like literally on top of each other's webs, and then also swinging in the style of what their original movies are. And it was just so cool to see all three suits together too. I mean,
and you talk about funny scenes. We don't even mention the part why we're named Peter 4, 5, 6, and 7.
You're Peter 1. You're Peter 2. So what I love about movies like this, and part of the reason why I absolutely love Lord of the Rings too, is that it mixes in all of these really heavy emotional scenes, really important emotional content with humor. Like there's some really funny, like we didn't, I mean, I know I mentioned it before. Wait, oh my gosh. The meme.
Yes.
we talked about some really funny parts, but for the back cracking scene for them doing that, and then you know, are you gonna stay in your youth pastor clothes the whole time? Like, I thought it was so funny that they, like, there's some stuff that they just did for fans. Chris, I don't know if you have any fun ones that, oh no, sorry, Tina.
Yeah.
any more fun pictures that you want to share, but there's such a nice mix of comedy. And I personally, my favorite comedic Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield, because he's so snarky and he's so hilarious. Like, oh my gosh, like small knives, that's my weakness. Or like, oh, someone's been a bad lizard. Like, it's just my sense of humor. But I love all three of them so much because they're so funny. And the fact that this movie still continues, like, that's who Spider-Man is. He's like super sarcastic. He's super snarky. He's super funny. And he's just like in your face about it. And I love it.
A lot of what, even the comics, the cartoons, all of it, you get his thought bubble. That's, you know, it's not him really talking. It's his weird sense of humor all the way through. And that helps break up the seriousness of the storylines. Because they really get heavy in the comics on some things. And yeah, I mean, it's always been that's what Spider-Man has always been. He's got those little quick whips, you know, that always come in there that makes it fun. So,
oh my gosh, I just love it.
I love that they kept calling Andrew Garfield amazing.
I know, like,
you're
no,
amazing.
you're amazing.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Like, no. I'm so lame compared to you guys, because you guys fought, like, I fought an alien made of black goo once. It's like, oh, I fought an alien too. I want to fight an alien. Just like, I'm just like super lame compared to you guys. Like, no, you're amazing. You're amazing. And that's so funny because Andrew is the amazing Spider-Man. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else off the top of my head that I thought was like so funny. But poor Happy, like he had it tough in this movie, going through a breakup and then losing May and losing everyone. I'm just thinking about him.
I hate to be a wet blanket, Meg, but what didn't you like about this movie?
So yes, that's another point that I wanted to talk about. Like I said, I had given it like a 9.5. One thing that I was a little confused about, which I kind of brought up, of Ned utilizing the sling ring. I'm not really sure how I know that there was some connection to like his family using magic or whatever, but like, doesn't it take a lot of training and a lot of effort and like knowledge on how to use the sling ring and like being a part of, I don't know, like that didn't make as much sense to me, that all of a sudden he was just like able to open up a portal. And I don't know.
It's because Ray had the force in her to begin with. We're talking about another movie. Sorry.
Exactly.
So somebody was talking about in the comics, Ned became like a supervillain or something like that, or was that the word? So maybe that was the foreshadowing, like he has that power to be able to do that. I don't know.
That wasn't the type of villain he became in the comic book.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think that there's more foreshadowing of like maybe him being like a part of something bigger instead of just Spider-Man's, guy in the chair.
Right.
I think Ned now has a bigger part.
I think they also use it as a plot point because Doctor Strange, they gotta capture Doctor Strange somehow.
Yeah.
So they got to take his sling ring. So
and they gotta find the other Spideys too somehow.
Right, and so that's the plot point that Ned knows how to use it.
But the opposite of that, the plot hole in that is, where's Wong the entire time? He's on vacation.
He was gone. He was in Shang-Chi.
He was in Shang-Chi.
The fight scene.
Well,
Yeah. He's like, I'm out.
The universe is about to explode, but Wong's a little busy on vacation.
Yeah.
Fighting them.
He was like, I've had it with you. Like you're trying to do this little magic trick for this teenager because he wants people to forget about him. But no, like you just wait. Oh my gosh, here's another meme.
I think we'll get a lot more Wong in Doctor Strange, obviously. So
yeah,
I love this. Yes.
Now I want to watch all the Spider-Mans.
Did you guys notice how in the trailer there's a part where Wong says, "Don't cast that spell to Doctor Strange," but it wasn't in the movie. Nope.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Anyway, go ahead, Justin.
Here's what I think I'm disappointed with in the most in the movies were the villains themselves, outside of Green Goblin.
And Doc Ock.
I felt like the Doc Ock storyline was a good one, but I felt that one was rushed. There was no Lizard storyline at all.
No, they were just in there.
Right.
Same with
There's
Electro.
no real Electro either.
Yeah. They just made Jamie Foxx look better.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is why you got to watch the other movies to find out their backstory.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yes.
No, I'll wait till Justin's done. I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude.
I'm sorry. The last one is, Sandman essentially was a good guy, but for some reason he was a bad guy. That didn't make sense.
I think
he wanted to go home, so why is he fighting Spider-Man?
I think it was helpful though to have him in the movie for some parts of it, because it gave all of those villains peace at the end. Villains, as in people who have been somehow manipulated by some scientific extraterrestrial, like whatever force, where
falling in a vat of eels.
Yeah, whatever it was, they all returned back to their normal state, whatever that means. I have no idea where all these people returned to based on the timeline, and the MCU does not make any sense whatsoever. Thank you for that question, Dapper.
It bothered me that at the beginning of the movie he was essentially a good guy, and for no reason at the end he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, he even says in the movie that he doesn't trust anyone. He's only out for himself. He only takes care of himself. And so at the time he thought he was doing what was best for him. And so he was fighting along, and so
he just wanted to get back to his daughter.
He just wants to get home.
He wanted to get home, but the Spider-Men were the ones trying to get them home. So why
are you saying that there was no way home?
Oh, we haven't even gotten to the ending yet. Jeez.
Part of that movie too. I mean, if you think about the Sandman, he really didn't change until that scene in the movie where he found out they're all going to die.
Yeah.
That's when he turned around.
Yeah.
That's when he became evil.
Yeah.
But before that, he was fine. He
had nothing left to live for.
Yeah, because he was kind of calming the guys down when they were all stuck in the cages.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Will you talk about how cool that was, though, where they were just like...
Sorry to interrupt you, Tina. Go ahead.
No, I interrupted you. That was my fault.
Should I interrupt both of you? Or?
So, Meg, what did you think about? Oh, no.
Go ahead, Tina.
What am I, Steve? So
no, you have friends, so from the Discord.
Okay, so I have a question. So my question is, what was it? When Peter said not to erase anybody's memories who knew that he was Spider-Man, right? To Doctor Strange. Mm-hmm. And then you had those villains from like the multiverse come in. Is that because they knew who the other Peter Parkers were?
Anyone who knew Peter Parker.
Yes.
So not just MCU Peter Parker, but the other ones. Okay.
Yes.
Just want to confirm that.
I like those parts where they were like, do you know a Peter Parker? Yeah. Is this him? No.
Yeah, it's basically what they were saying, that basically when they died in the other movies, that's where they went.
Died? I have heard that they got pulled right from before they died, but I don't know. You see them die in those movies.
I mean, there's whole sorts of people saying different things, but
lots of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Well, and again, if you go back and watch Loki, the series, that kind of touches on all of this, is that all of these different timelines that are all over the place, they're now converging into this multiverse. And so when we get into the Doctor Strange film, the Multiverse of Madness, all of this stuff is even going to be more confusing. So just know that there are lots of things from all over the place that are all going to come. And it's going to be confusing. So
I have a question for everybody, though. Do you actually does anybody think that they will bring back for maybe another one?
Yes.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Fingers crossed. So I feel like we need another like part. We need a part 2 of this because I feel like we could spend a lot of time talking about this idea of like moving forward. Like Justin said, he kind of wanted to talk about like what is the Spider Universe, like MCU with Spider-Man, gonna look like potentially because of the way that they left it, but also not the MCU with Spider-Man, like what's that going to happen? Like, are we going to get an Amazing Spider-Man 3? Like, what are we going to get Venom?
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a whole, because I know that you guys have another stream to do and I don't want to cut you guys off. But if you guys feel like you want to do part 2, you can let me know. Because I definitely can talk about this for
Oh yeah, I could talk about this for 5 more episodes.
I just
We'll make it a villains one, right? Like remember that time where I did ranked all the villains for like 4 weeks?
Can I say my least favorite part of this movie?
Yes, I want to know.
My least favorite part of this movie was on the ride home with my 15-year-old daughter when she talked for 15 minutes about how hot Andrew Garfield was.
The daddy, H-O-T, hot. I mean, he looks good.
The word hot was used so many times my head almost exploded. That was my least favorite part of this
I have to say, all 3 of them looked really good in this movie. Like, I think Toby looks great for being almost 50, and I think Andrew looks great for being 38, and I think Tom looks great as the newest Spidey. I mean, almost 50. I think they all look good.
I would say on our drive home, Chris, certain people in the car hadn't seen that Spider-Man and want to know if that Spider-Man was not straight. So there you go.
I think honestly, like, I love sensitive Peter Parker. That's like my favorite.
I was actually waiting for the Tobey Maguire dance in this film.
I think everyone wanted Bully Maguire. I see too many memes about that. But now just look paparazzi and them being with the paparazzi, and it's hilarious with Toby. Does anyone else want to share what their least favorite thing about or if there was something that they didn't enjoy about this movie? I know, Tina, you have so many.
I do actually have one that I can confirm.
Oh, okay. Yes, go ahead.
It's it's him losing MJ, him having to, he finally gets the girl and then he can't keep her. And it reminded me of like Harry Potter with Ginny, when he finally gets the girl and then he knows that he can't be with her because it puts her life in danger. And it brought me right back there. And it was just heartbroken, but it's the right thing to do. Yeah. And so it has to be done. So,
but that's a real human thing to do. Like,
yeah,
you can't always be happy. You can't always win at everything. Like, you have to make those tough choices. And a lot of times I feel like the superheroes are put in those positions, but particularly with Peter, he's just a kid still. So making those decisions, those adult decisions, are really hard.
Well, that's a trope of the character himself. The comic books call it the Parker luck. That's just how that character is. That's a part of that character, and without that isn't Peter Parker.
Oh my gosh! Stop. You're like, can you not?
Yeah.
But before we end, because I definitely want to talk more. I mean, I feel like we could talk more because I have other questions that we didn't get to answer.
We haven't scratched the surface on this movie.
We have not. And actually, after tomorrow, I'll have more things to say because I'm going to go see it on a big screen.
And we didn't touch the ending. I mean, that's
right.
We didn't touch so many things. Yeah. I was so excited to hear everyone's favorite part of the movie because I know that everyone had different parts that really resonated with them. And I know that Arlene still says, what was the point of this movie? Does anyone want to answer that before we go?
She's still angry because Thanos has died.
I'm sorry, Arlene. I understand. I can empathize with you in terms of your villain. I mean, not villain, dying or having, a bad rap. Yes,
the
the
point of the
cool new
movie-
suit he makes at the end. Yes, Yachty. We didn't even touch upon that.
I think the ending is the point of the whole movie. It's a reset of the character.
It is. And that's why I was saying, like, we didn't touch on the ending. We didn't even touch upon the end credit scene. We didn't touch upon what we think is coming next for this universe, which could be MCU Spider-Man and also Sony Spider-Man. Like, we have a couple different options of the way that they have ended this movie. There's so much that could happen. And it's almost like the way they ended Endgame, because you're like, what is going to happen next? And people
live action Spider Pig.
100%. That was actually my first thought. But I want to say, so Dapper Canuck says, was there a Stan Lee cameo? I saw that there was a taxi that had his birthday on it. It was 12/28.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it, though. Obviously, Stan Lee is no longer with us, which is, I mean, I think he would have absolutely loved this movie. I mean, out of everyone, if it's so special to us as fans, I couldn't imagine what it would have been for him. Yeah.
This was, I think I've said in a report this, or read a report where in an interview he said this was his favorite character that he ever made. So I mean, it's to see all those past stories tied up in this and a lot of resolution for those past stories, I think he would have been thrilled to see.
And that's,
that.
I'm going to bring it back to that point. Like, I'm literally getting like teary-eyed of this being a very special film for people that are not only superhero MCU fans, but just Spider-Man fans in general. I feel like this was the culmination of Spider-Man as a character and having all three of them and all the villains and just there was so much heart in this movie. And I know, Arlene, that you didn't like it, and that's okay. Some people don't like it, and some people don't like certain characters. Yes, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is what Stan wanted. And I think he just would have been so proud of this movie and where these characters ended up, because they're all at different places in their life too. And I think that that's something, no matter what age you're at, you can look back and like, obviously this is my lifetime of being a movie fan and bringing this back. But
I will say one thing, as a comic book nerd, again, I think Steve Ditko isn't given enough credit on what he did with Spider-Man.
Yep.
And there is a scene where there's graffiti that says Ditko on it. So they did pay homage to him as well. So
yeah,
sometimes
that's a really great point.
Stan Lee's given too much credit when it comes to Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I think because Stan Lee was such a big part of those movies and obviously with him passing away, not super recently, but like fairly recently, is it the first movie that he's not in?
No.
No.
Yeah.
He was not in
Internals. He wasn't in.
I haven't seen that movie yet. Sorry.
Don't.
He wasn't in Black Widow.
Don't see it. Yeah, I only
or
heard
Shang-Chi.
Okay.
Shang-Chi's great.
I love Shang-Chi. We actually did that.
He wasn't in Venom, I don't think either. So.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Well,
and he only
Venom?
did his cameos in the MCU movies pretty much anyway.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is Venom even like, no? But there's so much stuff that we can unpack with Venom and Spider-Man and things potentially in the future. Because obviously in the end credit scene there was a little bit of black goo, the symbiote left in this universe, and so that's what we'll have to talk about next
Black
time.
suit Spider-Man.
But I have so many questions about that. Okay, perfect.
Black suit Spider-Man. I really hope.
What about Night Monkey? The Night Monkey, Tina. The Night
cool.
Monkey.
Night Monkey.
Yes. Hi, Alyssa, Neil. Welcome. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for being here. Like I said, we'll have to do a part 2. You guys will have to let me know when you guys want to do that, whether it's next week or several weeks or never. Yeah.
I'll actually go watch the movie.
Tina's going to actually watch the movie. I'm going to watch it again because I already have my ticket for tomorrow. And we'll talk more. Yeah, it's very sad that he wasn't in it, but I'm glad you're my Marvel guide, Justin. Says Anitra. I'm gonna quickly plug our Discord because we did actually watch we watched some movies together, but we were thinking of doing like a movie club, like a book club, but movie club. So we're gonna watch movies, whether it's together or separately. It's gonna be up to you, I guess, whether or not to, if you have access to it. And if you don't, we can arrange for someone to try and do that together. But we're gonna try and watch a movie. It's looking like one's going to be an MCU movie and one is going to be a non-MCU movie. And then we're going to discuss it because movies are like some of my favorite things. And I've been wanting to do this. I remember like in the beginning of quarantine, I was like, let's do this. And then no one wanted to do it. I was like, we got to start it up again. We got to try it. So if you guys are not a part of our Discord, please join us. Hopefully we'll get that started pretty soon. And we have a lot of other fun things that are going on in there. So just a lot of Disney people. But Justin, I'm so glad that Joy was here for most of the stream too. What do you guys have coming up on Wednesday? I know you guys literally just got home from Disney.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about our trip. I don't know how much we're going to talk about that because our main course is going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly of Disney for 2021.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were going to talk about Spider-Man again.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about on Wednesday.
Awesome. Yeah. Justin and Joy go live on Wednesday nights at 9:00. So please check out their channel. 8 o'clock Eastern time. 8 o'clock. That is 9 o'clock. Yes. Thank you. I'm still thinking that it's 9 o'clock. Thank you, Jeanette. Jeanette popped in. She's posting the links. Jeanette, we're all done. No spoilers anymore. Russ, how about you? Do you have anything coming up on your channel?
So Friday evening, look for a live stream from the Magic Kingdom. I'm not exactly sure just yet what time. Just depends on when I get over there. But yeah, live stream from Magic Kingdom.
Awesome. Very cool. Go check out What in the World with Russ. I had to tell Jeanette we have no more spoilers. How about you, Nick? What do you have coming up on your channel?
Well, speaking of the Spider-Man movie, I did post a review of this movie. You guys want to check that out? Also, I just posted a video of a miniature train museum I went to.
Oh,
I did see that. That was really cool.
Thanks. The museum is miniature?
No, it's
everything.
Good one, Russ.
Excuse me.
It was like Alice in Wonderland. They had to shrink me to get in there.
Yeah, it was like Alice in Wonderland.
And also I have I'm going to go see The Kingsman probably Wednesday, so a review about that. And I have some nice. I hope it's a good one. And I have actually a couple movie reaction reviews coming up, so stay tuned for that.
Guys, this is why we had to have Nick on for this, because Nick is literally the movie guru. I mean, amazing. Thanks for being here. Tina, how about you? What do you, you're going live in like 5 minutes.
Yes, actually. So 10:30 on my channel, T Marie's Place, we're going to go play Quiplash. And I know in the description, the title of the video, I put Whiplash. I did that by accident at first, and then I changed it to Quiplash, and then I thought, no, it's funnier if I say Whiplash, so I changed it back. But yeah, I just finished up my Vlogmas series, and it was 25 Reasons Why I Believe in God, and I had a lot of positive feedback from it, and so because of that, I'm gonna sort of continue it every month. It's gonna be something like Creation Corner or Inspiration Station or something like that, some weird cliche title I'll give it.
I love cliches.
Yes, they are amazing. And so I'm gonna start that out. But normally I go live Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Eastern time, and it's Wednesday whateverness. So yeah, come hang out.
More alliteration. I love it. Thanks, Tina, for being here. Even though you didn't see the movie, I love that you're still here and you did your research.
Meg, if you had not invited me, I wouldn't have watched the second movie, and I would not be this excited to now go and watch it.
Tina, it literally, like, I had the biggest smile on my face when you texted me and you were so excited about Far From Home. And I was like, yes, aren't these like the best things ever? And honestly, like, We're gonna have to have another conversation, Tina, because I liked Homecoming way more than Far From Home.
Really? Okay.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I did.
All right.
I thought Far From Home was just okay. And I love, I mean, I love Spider-Man, but Homecoming was like chef's kiss. I thought it was great. And then his cameos in the other, you know, in Civil War, like, oh, I love him. But yeah, it's so interesting that it was almost the opposite. And Chris, I saw you nodding your head. Are you like in agreement with me or with Tina?
Oh no, with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was
Homecoming.
the oddball though?
That's okay. I love all things odd. Chef's kiss.
Sorry, Chris.
It was Shep's kiss. Yeah, we'll have to have another conversation about the whole Home trilogy.
They just got snapped. Why are they going to Europe? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
because they wanted a vacation, and then it just. I have some feelings about that movie too, so it was okay to me. But Chris, what do you have coming up on your channel?
Thursday night we'll be doing trivia at 10:30.
You guys have to start streaming earlier. I can never make these late ones.
Sorry, it's when I get off work. So.
I know.
Filling in for Gonzo this week and doing trivia Thursday night, and then Saturday night 9:30. I would tell you what we're talking about, but we never talk about what I say we're going to talk about.
It's not Spider-Man.
Yeah. So yeah.
Let's talk about Shep's kiss.
Shep's kiss. He would probably honestly love that. You love that. It's got to be the chef's kiss. Chef. I said chefs, by the way. Chef's kiss, like, you know, it's chef's kiss now. It's like holidays happy. What have I said?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys so much for allowing me to chat a little bit about Spider-Man. I absolutely love this franchise, and I love Spider-Man as a character. Hold on, sorry. He means so much to me, and growing up with him, like I'm sure you guys kind of feel the same way after hearing your backstory of how you got into Spider-Man and that character. But growing up with him was really special, and so getting to see this movie was Shep's kiss. It was amazing. So we'll have to come back, talk a little bit more about this. And before I go, wait, I wrote it down. Okay. Just because I didn't get to do one last week. Which Spider-Man? All of them. So I forgot last week because we were doing the Run Disney stream with Kristen, and last week I didn't get to do a Meg's Medical Moment. So I want to highlight two people. The first being Noah from Disnoah's Adventures. I know Noah's not here right now just because he hasn't seen the movie, but this past week was Noah's birthday. And so Noah's such a huge supporter of our community. I want to just say, Noah, thank you for all that you do. And you're a rock star. Happy birthday. And then also I see Anne in here too. So Annie Coog. And you are a rock star. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting all of us. You're such an incredible friend. And I'm just really, really appreciative of you being here and supporting all of us. And I know that Tina has to stream in literally 2 minutes. So I want to say thank you guys for being here. And I will see you all real soon. Bye.
Thank you, Meg.
Yeah, thank you.